9 games left for your Chicago White Sox. The past couple haven't been fun, but the future is bright. We think. We hope. Into the CHGO White Sox post-game show presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Download their app today. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets when you do. Welcome into Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I am Sean Anderson. Today is a great reminder of how short I truly am. I think I'm the only host that doesn't actually fit in these chairs. I'm being produced today by Joey Christopoulos.
What's up, Sean? The air is so nice over here.
Oh,
it's spacious.
Are you one of those people that really hates Studio B?
No, I love Studio B, but there's something about it being here. It's just spacious and open and nice, and you got real estate to roam around, and
it's similar to a modern HGTV renovation. Right? You know, we're going to knock out all the walls. We're going to try to give you clear sight lines. You know, when I'm doing all the work in the kitchen, I want to be able to see the kiddos. I got to keep an eye on the kiddos while they're in the, watching the TV, watching on their damn iPads.
Granite countertops. Get ourselves a little skyline in here.
Skyline?
It's nice.
Maybe skylight.
You know what else is nice? You know what else is nice, Sean?
Hitting that like button.
Camera 2.
Camera 2. Oh, we're doing camera 2. We're just doing that bit. I thought we were going to keep that bit for a second.
No, we're going to run it the whole show, man.
Right,
whatever you want.
We're going to keep going, camera 1, camera 2. All right. Anyways, thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate Ryan hanging out with us. Appreciate Sarah hanging out with us. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We're coming to you live after a White Sox loss. 3-1. They get swept by the Orioles. Not a fun series. And I don't know if my tweet was fair or not when I said that the boys seemed to be hitting a wall. Mike Tauchman did homer. Chase Meidroth extended his hit streak to 13 games. We'll talk about that later on. But it does seem like the lack of pitching, the lack of a true shutdown pen arm, even though, today they were really great. It seems like it's finally caught up to them. That 9-2 run, though, that was really fun. Joey, to have 11 games out of 162 where you go 9-2, yeah, it made me feel like a playoff team. Yeah, that gave me a special little feeling. So I think we were definitely wrong to say, I was wrong to say that they were fun. They're definitely fun bad, but I think that you should be excited for this team in 2026. I think you should be excited for this team in 2027. Beefloaf shared something from Joe Sheehan's newsletter where he thinks that the White Sox are not only, doing a great job, but they could even possibly be, a surprise team that by 2027 could be competing. So it's not even me as a White Sox homer being like, oh, this team's pretty good. No, for a general consensus of Major League Baseball is this is no longer a team that's with the Rockies as a clear worst team in Major League Baseball. They're now 28th in the power rankings, where there might be a little bit of sunlight peeking through that door.
Well, Sean, when we talked about walking into this season about capabilities, I don't think any White Sox fan would be lying if they didn't say that they were capable of stretches like this. I think what's been the surprise is that the White Sox have shown a capability to win 9 out of 11, to have the type of offense that they've had in the second half. I think that's more new news than what's going on right now when, honestly, they hit some potholes in the season and they play pretty poorly. I don't think that's a big surprise. The capability of them playing really well, I think that's the news.
Yes, and, that's why I think, it's more of a wall. I don't think it's a sign of bad things to come. I think all of these kids have shown a different level of talent that's just, got guys getting called up in September and having a good September, right? Coulson, if he hits 2 more homers, he'd be tied for the team lead in under 60 games. Kyle Teal yesterday had a monster home run to give him a 2-0 lead. Meidroth currently has a 13-game hitting streak. Caro's fizzled, but Caro is kind of not the guy. He's 1 of 9, and you need those in baseball. He's not the guy, but for a trade that was, pretty
the
much
White Sox
negated
need guys.
immediately
Yeah, we
by
need
the
guys.
Angels.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
For sure, but like when you look at that trade too, Reynaldo Lopez and Lucas Giolito immediately being waived by the Angels like 7 days after they get traded. I mean, you would have taken just Kai Busch for that, but you got Edgar Caro on top of it. And even though Kai Busch, I don't think he's going to be anything when it comes to this team, but hey, hey, maybe he turns into something. I'm not banking on it, but Caro could be a guy, and we love guys.
We need guys.
Team. We need guys. So again, I think that this is still a very bright future ahead for Sox fans, or at least maybe not bright future, because that's maybe implies winning, but it's shaping up to be another 100-loss season. With this loss, they're now at 96. You'd have to only lose 4 games in the last 9, go 5-4. You're playing the Yankees. You're playing the Padres, 2 playoff teams. It's likely you're going to lose 5 games in the next 9 and reach 100. There's the stat, though, that 2 teams that have lost 3 straight years of 100 losses have won the World Series.
Oh, the Astros and the
I believe the Nationals or Royals. I'm going to check.
Yeah.
But it could be a good sign for the Sox to lose 100. I don't know.
Well, I think it's
hopefully they get the number 1 pick from this.
that would be fantastic. I think it's fair to throw out. I mean, we're kind of getting towards the end of the season, so sometimes you get into also the analogy season, if you will. And if the Chicago White Sox last year if this was like a 4-story house and they fell through every floor and they landed in the basement, and the basement was pitch black and completely dark and you couldn't find your way out, and you say to yourself, someone handed you a light bulb that you got to screw in that maybe doesn't get yourself out of the basement, but at least lets you know which direction you're heading. So I'm with you. I don't know if the Chicago White Sox are going to be a great team next year, but if they make more progress and they add another light bulb, eventually they will find their way out of this. I think definitively this season was a light bulb that we could screw in to at least give us an idea of kind of where we are, where we're going, and can we possibly get out of that darkness that we were in last year.
I can't find the actual stat, but there is this nugget that's the D-backs, Orioles, and Rangers all had 100 losses only 3 years ago and became World Series contenders.
The Rangers spent a lot of cash, to be fair, out of those
as
teams.
well. So I'll get my facts straight, and hopefully we can deliver you the hard-hitting facts here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. But today was, just an iffy day. Martin Perez got out to a rough start, settled in decently, and then around I think it was 75th on CHSN's counter, but he only threw 71 via StatCast. So around a 70th pitch, he got injured after, I think, giving up a foul ball. Was in a 2-2 count. He might have given up the single and then was pulled by Will Venable. So a tough ending to Perez's season. The Sox said it was a shoulder injury, so it was different than his elbow injury that he suffered that shut him down for 3 to 4 months of the season. We were thinking about including him in the White Sox off-season project plan because it could have been maybe a Quintana-esque signing, but it does seem like most old men, he's breaking down. And so, is that a horse you want to really strap yourself to? Or Joey, Martin Perez was pitching pretty well. Does this open the door even more for another White Sox reunion? Oh, we'll buy you when you're at your lowest point. 2 injuries? No one's going to touch Martin Perez after this, right? So
invite
you buy
to
him
spring
out for
training and
1.5, and you give him a major league contract, right? Martin Perez will get a major league contract, but maybe now is when you buy. But I think that Perez should be applauded for the work that he gave to this team. A valiant veteran that I wouldn't hate to see next year. We'll talk about some of Chris Getz's comments that he made to the media today about what this team might need. Also talked about Luis Robert Jr. and his future Seems like he has written Robert's name in bold for 2026. We'll talk about the importance of that. But I think Perez is going to be a name that at least sticks around. Maybe if the Sox miss out on their first and second target, Perez could be a name that they go back to and reshuffle the deck. Because I think that it's possible 2026 starts with a rotation of Smith, Martin, Cannon, Burke, Perez. Like, it's not the worst thing. It's not great, but it doesn't seem like Noah Schultz will be on the opening day roster. Doesn't seem like Hagen Smith will be on the opening day roster.
It would be cool if they added someone of the Martin Perez ilk to create some sort of version of competition or maybe some depth and, go. I'm not saying spend a lot of money.
No, for sure. But no, I'm just saying, like, if plans go awry, they do have enough options in-house to maybe have Martin Perez be their only pitching signing. Because, hey, remember, you missed yesterday, they're signing Munetaka Murakami. So
we broke it here
make
on the
room
show.
at first base because Munetaka Murakami's coming over because he wants to play on the East Coast, but he also wants to play on the Yankees. So just give him
he didn't say he didn't want to play in the Middle West.
Right.
And we technically have West in our name, so we can there's some wiggle room there.
Give him a central location. A central location that's tapped into an international airport. He could fly to Japan right out of O'Hare. He can fly to the West Coast if he wants to,
Probably have a layover. He'll have a layover in L.A. or New York, in theory.
Yeah, right.
He'll go to both.
LaGuardia. What's the other one? LaGuardia. I don't need to name the airports.
Oh, JFK?
Kennedy. What's the other one?
What, in L.A.?
No,
LAX?
in New York. There's 3 in New York.
Oh, LaGuardia, JFK, and
Newark?
I don't know.
Whatever.
Derek Jeter Airport?
Derek Jeter Airport. Derek Jeter Memorial.
Paul O'Neill International Airport.
But yeah. Regardless, Martin Perez, even though the start wasn't great tonight, I think that it's possible he is back for next year. The other importance for today, Steven Wilson came in, struck out 3. Grant Taylor came in and struck out 3, I believe. Leisure came in and struck out 2. One of the most egregious calls on one of those strikeouts as well. Tyler O'Neill was at bat, and Leisure throws a slider up in the zone, like neck level. Teal grabs it, frames it, and somehow it's called a strike. But really, great job by the Sox bullpen. Leisure struck out 1, and that was his only K. But yeah, Taylor struck out 3. Wilson ends up striking out 4. So that was the miss K I had. I thought Wilson only pitched 1 inning. So Wilson goes 1 1/3, striking out 4. Taylor goes 1 inning, striking out 3. And then Leisure 1 2/3, striking out 1. And the guy that I do want to talk about here is Grant Taylor. Makes his first appearance from coming off the IL. So that's good to see that Taylor didn't miss the entire rest of the year after he did hit the IL. 21 pitches today, 14 four-seam fastballs, 3 cutters, 2 sliders, 2 curveballs. The velocity was down, but nothing that has me too worried about a guy coming off injury. Seeing 0.5 mile per hour difference isn't the end of the world, especially when he's typically throwing 100. He did max out at 100 too, so not the end of the world. We'll see how Grant Taylor looks in his next outing. But when you look at the swings and misses, 2 swings and misses on 8 swings of his four-seam fastball. 6 were fouled off, so unable to put the ball in play, getting 2 swings and miss. 2 called strikes as well on the four-seam fastball. And then in the curveball, you got 1 swing and a miss, and then you also got a called strike on the cutter and slider. So I just like the breadth of that arsenal. I really dislike when you see Grant Taylor go out there and it's just four-seam fastball and cutter. Seeing the mixing in of the slider, the curveball, I think that's going to be beneficial to the rest of Taylor's outings. And you can tell, too, that these are sliders and not just misdiagnosed cutters. They're averaging around 89 miles per hour. The cutter sits around 94. So at least he's differentiating with that pitch as well. It was mainly just four-seam, cutter, and curve. So we're seeing at least a little bit of a growth for Grant Taylor. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast, as that's pretty much it for this game and the series. We did do a post-game show yesterday. Sox lost 8-7. They lost 4-1 on Monday. Nothing really to write home about. Sox are now 57-96 on the year. We will talk about Chase Meidroth's current ongoing hit streak. We'll talk about Luis Robert Jr., some other fun stuff. I'll probably figure out who the two teams that won the World Series after losing 3 straight years of 100 losses after the break here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. We want to let you know about our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Joey, I don't even know what camera to look in. I do know that it's NFL football season. Whether it's NFL or college football, with Bet365's early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points. With an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners, I've gotten in early on the action, trying to make sure I'm in before all those big money sharks in Vegas put their money down. I like over on Bears and Cowboys 50, and now I think that one's at 51. On the over-under. I like the over-under in Iowa and Rutgers, 45.5. It was at 45, and now it's at 45.5. You know, there's some wiggle room there.
What's going on there?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, some fun stuff with football being back and a ton of offers. Thursday Night Football's tomorrow. You also get a $10 safety net bet with our friends over at Bet365. Breaking news from Bet365. Playoff season is here. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use our code CHGO365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet of $5 wins or loses. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. We also want to let you know about our friends over at RC. I chatted with our guy, Jim Cook, tried to shake him down for more RC0. I guess I wasn't supposed to be having this on the show. Jim will be mad at me. It's a family member, okay? What I was telling Jim is that RC Zero Sugar has pretty much changed my life. I'm having an identity crisis. I've been a person that drank a very specific red and black zero sugar soda for the past 5 years. And now that I've been introduced to RC, and now that Jim tells me where to find it specifically to get all the breadth of flavors, I am so excited to stock my house with RC Zero Sugar. It is the OG of colas in a world of spineless soft drinks. There's no trends, no gimmicks, and no glow-ups. RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905 because it didn't need to. It's the same bold, crisp flavor it's always been, and now that it's in zero sugar, I will drink 12 a day. Don't think it's recommended by a doctor. I also do not care. Do yourself a favor. Grab some RC at your local store. Stock up for all your end-of-summer parties, back-to-school celebrations, or just watching the game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing. Oh, I thought we were going to do that transition back. We're back here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. Oh, there we go. We got a slide bar. Goodbye, bar. He gone. Hit
go.
that thumbs up button if you are hanging out with us here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. Shout out to Randy. Randy's hanging out with us.
I love
Randy
Randy's
says,
comments.
Well, why don't you be Randy's voice here and read them off to me while I take a sip of this banned cola that Jim
This is just what I'm imagining Randy sounds like. Looking forward to seeing our White Sox going strong and healthy 2026 and the next 2 years.
I think Randy has used the black hands emoji before in his chat. I don't think he sounds like a 14th century guard at the gates, Joseph.
Never. Let me try another one up. Never give up on your White Sox. Go White Sox.
Go White Sox.
Andrew Benintendi goes deep again.
Oh, baby.
Day off tomorrow and hope we win at least 2-game series against San Diego.
Okay, stop, because Randy doesn't sound like this. And
Does it sound like Lynn Casper?
We need to keep. No, he does not. We need to keep Randy around. But yeah, they do get a day off tomorrow, which will be important. It's going to be tough though, playing San Diego as they're trying to lock in for a playoff series, and you got Cease, Darvish, and King. It's a very, 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 very tough three-headed monster that you have to face. Randy's going on Saturday though. I think they're facing you, Darvish. So maybe the old man's a little rickety. Maybe the old man's off his rocker there. But with him throwing 8 pitches against these young guys, he's had 6 strikeouts and 7 strikeouts in his last 2 games. I think it's going to be a nice day from Darvish, but that's neither here nor there.
They also loaded up on bullpen too as well. If you want to talk about Padres bullpen versus White Sox bullpen, the second half of those games could be daunting.
They got Mason Miller. Who else?
And they picked up Suarez.
Suarez. Wasn't he on the team?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he's in the back end.
Yeah.
With the bullpen.
No, I was just like, who do they trade for?
Oh, I'm just saying that's a 1-2 punch.
No, it's a very good 1-2 punch. But also, I mean, hey, it might be 9-1, and there's no game to save. Anyways, let's talk about Chase Meidroth. Meidroth in the 9th inning got a hit, extended his current hit streak to 13 games. That passes his 12-game hit streak from the 5th month, the 15th, the 11th of May to the 25th of May. That was a 12-game hit streak. That was his current high. He tied it yesterday with a hit in yesterday's game. Now today in the 9th inning, he extends it to 13. And he has been a guy that's like real hit or miss. In his last 28 games, a .327 batting average, a .400 on-base percentage, and a .418 slugging percentage, which, hey, not bad. And then you look at the rest of the year for him, or not even rest of the year, but you just look at a different 28-game sample for him. This is a 23-game sample, but a .226 at batting average, .280 on-base percentage, and a .333 slugging percentage. If he's not walking more, he's going to just be very viable to going through these types of slumps, because a lot of the stuff that he hits either needs to find a hole, needs to find space to land. He does have a little bit of pop. He's not Nicky Madrigal out here. He's got 5 homers and 15 doubles, but he is truly trying to hit them where they ain't. It's pitched to the outside. I need to shoot it in between the second baseman and first baseman. What I want to see from Meidroth specifically is getting into deeper counts. Obviously, he's faced a lot of 0-0 counts, but he's faced the same amount of 1-0 counts as he has 0-1 counts. And then you look at the full count list, and I think that he's maybe faced about, I think it's 3 plate appearances in this stretch where he's reached a full count since August 15th, which is like, cool, be aggressive, be aggressive, and you'll get a 422 batting average in his last 45 at-bats. Not complaining, but if we're talking about Chase Meidroth becoming a full player, you'd like to see him extend these at-bats a little bit. But the one thing with Chase that we have heard about is that he seems to be a guy that plays dinged up, and him being a tiny guy,
gamer,
that isn't afraid to steal bags, that isn't afraid to dive out onto the field and make that extra play. He's got hit a couple of times up and in as well on the hands. It's not surprising that his performance also might suffer when he is banged up and playing banged up. So it's on the Sox to at least have the depth to, hey, if Meidroth's hurt, we need to at least have a somewhat decent player at second base to back him up. I think that is in, contention with Jacob Gonzalez, who seems to be pushing, his way up. Didn't have a good stretch at Charlotte, but he's been known for his glove, so maybe that's depth there for the Sox. Bonnemer, who was just the Carolina MVP. He's only 19 years old, but when they called him up to Winston-Salem, he was, still Caleb Bonnemer. That could be, more depth for them. But then with Meidroth, if he's competing with Bonnemer, Meidroth wasn't a second-round pick of the White Sox. He was obviously a part of the Crochet trade. He was the third part. Maybe Meidroth becomes that bench piece, and I could see that being the true depth come 2027. I think 2027, while it might be aggressive, Bonnemer's really good at Birmingham next year, where I think he'll start off. We've seen the threshold of players getting promoted being lowered and lowered and lowered. 20 would be very, very young for a player to be making his major league debut, but I don't know if it's out of the question. So Chase in 2026, it's shaping up to be an important year from him, because I think he kind of has to prove I'm a starter and not a backup, because the Sox are going to give him every opportunity to be that type of player in 2026. And he can either kind of prove to the Sox, like, hey, I'm too good to just be sitting on the bench. Let's create a trade opportunity, because our guy Lenyn Sosa, even though we love him, he's not creating that opportunity. He's keeping himself alive on the White Sox roster. He's not thriving and putting himself in a situation where oh, I can get traded and unloaded to a different team, and maybe I'll be able to extend my career.
Well, for starters, depth, there's nothing wrong with that. The second part is, obviously, we've seen Chase at second and we've seen him at shortstop, so the versatility is a good thing moving forward, whether he profiles as a starter or whether he does profile as a versatile bench guy off the bench. I will say, if I can be meatball about it for just a second, the up and down of production with Chase Meidroth, and of course he's a young player, so he needs to continue to develop, more importantly, more consistency when you talk about him on offense. But the fact that you mentioned that he plays through stuff, and that he's got that like dirt ball, his jersey is always a mess. He flies around, he throws himself into it. And even the fact that he works those counts, those 3-2 counts. From a meatball perspective, I think that is a type of tone and an attitude of a player that the White Sox have been sorely missing, at least over the last 4 or 5 years. Now, I'm not saying that's going to translate into wins. I'm not saying that's going to translate into Chase Meidroth turning into, the second coming of whatever. He's going to be a 1-2 hitter moving forward. But I think the White Sox need a little bit more of that. So even as you do maybe transition over to Caleb Bonham, or maybe Chase Meidroth is the starter moving forward, I think it's nice to have a guy that puts that type of tone into the day-to-day grind of the baseball operation, especially if he's not a guy who's going to be the 5th, 6th best hitter in your lineup.
Well, I mean, it's not out of the possibility that Bonham could play third.
Could Chase play third in a pinch? Probably.
No,
I don't think you want to profile him there.
No, he doesn't have the arm to play shortstop, so he doesn't have the arm to play third base.
Nicky Madrigal can do a crow hop and throw to first.
Nicky Madrigal had to truly run
3-step.
Chase is a second baseman, and that's kind of the where you are
fair.
when you are that small.
That's fair.
Where Bonhamer's athletic, maybe a little bit more explosive, and maybe that does again lead to, although he's been good at shortstop, maybe Colson slides to third, Bonhamer's your shortstop, and then what the hell do you do with Billy Carlson? I don't know, but that's a good problem to have. So we'll wait and see. But it is more on Meidroth forcing himself into that conversation next year, because the Sox can give him all the opportunities in the world, but if he's playing hurt, he won't be showing his best opportunity, and then comes into question, can you even play 162 when you're being the hardo that he is, and giving it 110% every single day? That might not be viable, but that's what he's trying to do to make it in the major leagues. It's very, he's a guy that gives so much effort. It's really, it's not a guy that like Nick Madrigal that you can hate. Nick Madrigal was hateable. That guy did not know how to run the bases. That guy thought he was a lot better of a base runner than he was. He thought he was a lot better fielder than he was. He couldn't play second base, even though he was a second baseman.
His base running was insane. Like, it would be like
not insane positive, insane
negative.
No,
insane negative
clinical.
Of like, have you played before at times?
Like baseball was foreign. Like he was a cricket player thrown into baseball.
I could never get over that.
Like he was came from a line of curlers.
It's an interesting lesson in being a fan, because sometimes when you hear like a guy has great bat to ball skills, you immediately start transferring that instinct over to other aspects of the game of like, well, bat to ball means maybe he's fundamentally sound and he understands and he's got this underlying feel for the game. And Nick Madrigal is a great test case of like a lot of stuff that you need to sometimes like look a little bit deeper as a fan before you start buying into the 3-4 word phrase cliches.
Ooh, poor Ryan owns a Madrigal Cub jersey. That's a real unfortunate one.
What could you get for that on eBay right now, Ryan?
I hear you completely, and honestly, like that's why I think advanced numbers are just so interesting and needed, because it tells you at least the competition they're going up to.
Right.
Or up against, right? Like Madrigal, was he facing, fastballs around 92, and is that why he was making, so much great bat to ball skills? What is his actual bat speed? How much bat speed can he actually produce? Can he even generate balls out of the infield with a wood bat? It's Nicky 2 strikes Madrigal, but he saw 3 strikes a lot more than he saw 1 strike.
And he didn't square up the baseball, so bat to ball wasn't true.
Did he have a homer in a Sox jersey? He must have.
Yes. Yeah.
2.
I mean, so what he had that 2 month.
2.
He had that 2 month little stretch there
Yeah, I mean, he was good for the Sox.
And you
in the first, and I mean, he had a 1,
and he was a sixth man,
a 109 OPS plus,
literally off the bench,
the
and you're like, oh, this could be a guy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also kind of like the 83 game sample. 83. You got to see the full breadth of, you know, what does this guy do after 600 plate appearances, and what he goes like down to a 92 OPS plus player. So that's also the thing with Meidroth. You know, is this a guy that has been playing hurt and that kind of explains the poor play, or is this a guy that can be exposed, and the more and more he plays, the more and more he'll get exposed? It's also possible with Colson. I just have a little bit more faith because dude's 6'4" and he's an athletic freak. It's the margin of error is a lot bigger, and also the threshold for error is a lot bigger when you are kind of on the outlier of players in the sport. Joey Gallo, Matt Wallner, O'Neal Cruz, Ellie De La Cruz. When you push the boundaries of what baseball players are, you're going to get more interest. Right now, Colson's 6'4", playing shortstop with a ton of home runs. Like, that's going to at least get a ton of people knocking for several years, being like, well, maybe we can fix him, you know? Sure. Where Chase, it's like you have to do everything and, you know, go above and beyond to make it in the league. I don't know why I went on this massive diatribe about Chase, but I did. Let's take a break on the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by Bet365. We want to let you know about our friends over at Ray CDJR. New vehicles are in store at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and
Ram.
And this is your chance to score a great deal at the Drive Into Fall event. Head into Ray CDJR on Route 12 to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Right now, get up to $15,000 off MSRP or get 0% financing for 72 months on 2025 models, new 2025 models, plus shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000 with friendly team of brand experts. The team at Ray CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey, and since they prioritize affordability, you know you won't overpay for the vehicle you need because of Ray's price promise. You could shop confidently with no add-ons or no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. It's simple. It's like, hey, I walk into a grocery store, rice is $5.99 a pound or whatever. I'm going to pay $5.99 a pound. It's that simple. It's just like buying a car from Ray CDJR. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Game Time. We saw Randy's going to the game on Saturday. There's 3 games left at home. If you are looking to get to a White Sox game this year at the rate, you have 3 more chances. The way to get into the game is Game Time. The Game Time gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so you will see, what you see is what you pay. I don't know how to read, but I could read that now. What you see is what you pay. You won't be surprised by any extraordinary fees at the end of your checkout. And the best part, too, is use Game Time as you are walking up to the game. The prices go down as you get closer to game time. It is the best place to buy tickets from. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it?
Game time.
Shy Sox Anthony said, my last game was last night. Great game, minus the outcome. But hey, you know, if you stuck around, at least you were rewarded with a Benny homer. 8-7 is not too bad. I feel like today would have been worse. At least yesterday you got some homers. You got some excitement with the 108 goofballiness, right?
Did he walk by? Did he sit by these dudes last night?
Well, so these guys were today, Joe.
Oh, come on. These guys are season ticket holders.
They might be season ticket
They're not
holders.
a one-stop shop couple of bros.
So this is a great picture by Kamil Krasinski. I'm very sorry if that is the wrong pronunciation. We get these photos from Imogen. It's the USA Today outlet. So I believe Camille works for USA Today, so shout out to him for this picture. A wonderful photo. Several wonderful photos that we've used for a thumbnail, and game scores have been taken by Camille at the rate. So shout out to him. Unbeknownst to him and unbeknownst to us, I guess the some way fourth member of CHGO White Sox taking all these photos. But depicting these two gentlemen, what, about 6 rows back, Joe? How many seats do you count behind the guy in the shirtless in the tank top drinking a beer? About 6 rows back?
I got possibly naked man in the 11th row, and then if we're just counting from the picture down, we got dude in the 4th.
Okay, so yeah, about 7 rows in between them. You got one guy sitting on the complete aisle, drinking a beer, shirtless, backwards cap, sunglasses, shorts. You likely went to high school. The guy's name is Dave, right? You know Dave.
Definitely played first base. Played first base in high school.
Is maybe 7 rows back, 1 seat over. Murph, no shoes, no shirt, got a Hope pants. The only article of clothing our guy Murph is wearing is a hat. And I don't know if he's drinking. It doesn't seem like there's a beer in his hand. This guy's just
naked.
Dogs out, naked at the park. That's what you should be seeing in September. Even if the team's good. On a Wednesday at 1:10 when people are working, kids are in school, this is who should be in the park. There should never be people on Twitter being like, oh, look how little the fans are there. It's a blessing that people even show up to Major League Baseball in 2025. And the fact that these guys still show up should be applauded and celebrated. I hope those two are CHGO watchers. Fantastic photo from Camille depicting baseball fans. You could just title that
in its
baseball
element.
Fans. What's that? Or fanatics.
Baseball fans in their element.
All right. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. I think Matt Peck just broke Studio B, so we'll never do a show in there again. Let's talk about some quotes from our guy. Let's talk about quotes from our guy, Chris Getz, because that's the most important thing. So this is from Scott Merkin. Scott has been tweeting out these quotes from the past 2 days. We talked about the not Munetaka Murakami quote, but Munetaka Murakami quote from yesterday and David Keller. But Chris Getz spoke today. First of all, let's get the breaking news out of the way. Getz says he sees Mike Vassell as a part of the bullpen moving forward. Likes his versatility in relief roles. I like to think, I'm assuming Bruce is the person that gets the first shot because he is the elder statesman at the Chicago media or baseball media. I like to think his first question was about Mike Vassell. I don't. It wasn't about Luis Robert Jr. It was about, hey, what do you think about this team and how they've played under Will Venable? It's no. What do you think of Mike Vassell? Vaseline, baby. But I agree with Getz. Hey, that's a great pickup for them. A Rule 5 pick that they'll gain options of. If he stinks, they could send him down to Charlotte, and he can eat innings as a starter. It seems like a dude that's down for anything. Seems like a good personality. If he makes it, great. If he doesn't, who cares? You got him for literally nothing. Vassell was a fantastic pickup, and if he's a part of the bullpen next year, I don't think it's a bad thing. He could be your Jared Schuster, baby. He could be, your 3-inning guy if you need somebody just to eat inning. Your Tyler Alexander of this year. There is a lot of versatility, as Getz says, in Vassell. The other thing, we could put 2 names in bold, I guess, Joey, for our 2026 offseason project plan. Probably more than 2, but at least from these 2 quotes. Getz also reiterated he expects Luis Robert Jr. to be a part of the White Sox moving forward. So we can bold him in center field for 2026. We can bold Mike Vassell. I assume we could bold Teal and Caro. We could bold Meidroth. We could bold Montgomery. It's kind of up in the air with Lenyn Sosa, Miguel Vargas, Curtis Mead. They're all one and the same. One hits homers, one hits singles, one plays first and third base and can't hit lefties. And then in the outfield, maybe Andrew Benintendi. It'd be a nice surprise to see him bought out. I won't put him in bold just for that hope and that hope alone. But the meaty quotes from Getz, quote, there are plenty of areas that need to be improved on. We have to understand the strengths of the players. There will be opportunities to add to this group, If appropriate, we'll go ahead and try to attack that. More than anything, you look at the free agent market, you look at the pitching and the hitting, and what we feel like can be a fit here. It's a little too early to predict how everything will play out. I think all areas of the team can be improved, but the most important thing is continuing the improvement and developing of our young players. I guess it's really a nothing quote at the end of the day. Getz saying there's a free agent market. There's pitchers and hitting. He
kind of said it last year. He kind of basically said the same thing last year.
But he also said
improvement
before,
from within.
Right, but he also said before that they'll be active. I think the Keller's quote is something. I don't think that they would be afraid to have a conversation with Munetaka Murakami. Maybe they wouldn't be able to back it up, the dump truck of cash like the Mets would be able to do, and maybe they don't end up signing Murakami, but at least they think they want to have a conversation with Munetaka. However, I wonder two things. One, can Luis Robert Jr. be the Christian Yelich of the Chicago White Sox American League Brewers?
For the JUCO Brewers?
Yeah, maybe he hasn't proven enough like Yelich. Yelich was a former MVP, or I think then won an MVP with the Brewers, right? I think he's had several top 5 MVP
He's had a couple
right?
monster seasons, 100%.
So maybe it's not fair to compare Luis Robert Jr. to Yelich because Yelich has done a bit more in his career. But the guy that you do spend money on that is elite, plays an important position, obviously a dice roll on if he's healthy or not, but Yelich also has that as well. Yelich isn't a bastion of health.
Well, no. So if you could, honestly, if you could take one of those two players for the next 4 years, I would easily take Luis Robert Jr. just because of the back
difference.
But it's the back issue background.
Right.
I mean, even the age, Christian Yelich and the productivity, his back and those issues, they've already moved him to the corner outfield spot. I'm probably sitting closer to Luis Robert on that one.
Right.
And the most interesting part about what I'm taking away from what Chris Getz is saying is that I feel like if you try and put yourself in the shoes of Luis Robert, there's just been so much uncertainty around him the last 16 months that maybe if you're a human being, if you hear enough about it, maybe you start buying into it, and maybe you start kind of feeling like, well, I'm not going to be here really, so what's the point of X, Y, or Z? And I'm not trying to speculate that led into his production, but I can imagine it probably affects the player at some point. But Chris Getz saying that he's in the plan, and as you said, putting him in bold in center field next year. Look, he's at an OPS plus average of 85 the last 2 years, and the years before that, it's in the 110, 115. So I'm not saying he gets back to being the MVP who's going to hit 40 home runs, but can we get some sort of middle ground? And if there's a middle ground there, it's a wildly improved player in the White Sox lineup.
I'm fine with the top end, though.
I hear
still
you.
think he could be the 40 homer guy.
I'm with you.
Because I'm delusional.
Right, but I'm asking.
I still think that he can win an MVP.
I'm asking as a baseline of, I think the baseline for Luis Robert was not met this year in terms of production. I think everyone would agree that he performed underneath what we should probably expect from him. With the body of work? No?
I agree that you should expect more from him, but I also think that there's several ways to explain his production, and I don't think that if you are looking at the stat line of 2025 and looking at the stat line of 2024, while they are similar, they are completely different years. He plays, 4 more games, I think, than the year prior. Yep. But the 102 games that he played this year are way better than the 98 that he played last year.
That's fine.
So, I don't know.
But would you also say that there was a healthy amount of games, maybe his first 30 or 40 games left a lot to be desired? And I think we're walking out of it over the last 50, 60,
I always felt,
more
though, that
emboldened.
It was more like surfing. I just felt like there was going to be a big wave at some point, and it was all just little tiny waves. What's the George Costanza? The sea was angry that day, my friends. I feel like you just have to get him on the right year. I really don't think, because I was looking at in spring training was the improved eye. And what you really see at the end of the year is that he did walk more. That is all we've wanted from Luis Robert Jr. The bat speed's still elite. So if he's able to pair the elite bat speed with the eye that he's possibly gained, he can have his best year still ahead of him. I mean, he can easily surpass 2023. He could steal 40 bases and possibly hit 40 homers. I think the question was, can he steal 40 bases? He did.
Showed that this year.
Yeah, right? So I don't know. I wish that.
No, I think.
I wish he could. If we're being honest,
Yeah.
I wish he could take steroids.
Well,
Just do whatever he could to stay healthy. Give him as much human growth hormone as possible to stay healthy. I think that would be a really great plan at Chicago White Sox.
The gradient level of the version or the semantic version of what kind of Luis Robert we get next year aside, I think we're both in agreement that Luis Robert, knowing that he isn't going anywhere, that he's making $20 million next year to play center field for the Chicago White Sox, and if he can stay healthy, it is a huge addition to this lineup that we have seen a lot of positive developments with over the last 2 months.
The other thing, though, is the T word. It's not off the table that they still trade him at some point. If he has a good 2026, it's not impossible that they just completely move off of him if a playoff team comes properly and they just trade him away. Because also, if they have no interest in signing him past this current deal, the 8 years, $88 million, they'll have to trade him at some point to get something. They're not just going to let him walk for nothing. But is this also Getz saying, am I looking at this camera, Joey?
I don't know. I feel like you're getting into something, so I want to go to camera 2. Are you ready?
Well, let's go to hat 2. There's a big brain thinking.
Hat 2, camera 2.
Big brain thinking. I already have a big head, but I don't want to really, lock it in.
No, it's your thinking cap. It's where all the thoughts circulate and swirl, and you need a bigger hat to fit all the thoughts.
Will we see, or how many over under 1.5 Bob Nightingale articles, screenshots of an article of Luis Robert Jr. drawing interest from the Padres, right?
By the end of this year or in general in the offseason?
I think we don't see it. I think because of the injury, I think that there will be, unless it's Getz putting out stuff, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of CHGO White Sox podcasts saying, Luis Robert Jr. to the Padres, is there a deal? I don't think we'll be talking about mocking up trades. I think that this deadline showed you that there's not enough interest in Luis Robert Jr. I think it also showed that the White Sox have a very, very large gap in how they view Luis Robert Jr. compared to how Major League Baseball views him. And I think that Chris Getz is ready to say, let's have him show off what he can do in 2026. We believe in him to the point that we know we're not going to get anything proper in the offseason. We have to have him show out in 2026.
See, this is a fun, friendly wager because I would actually say that I do think by the end of this year, heading into the winter meetings, I do think that report number will go over 1.5, not coming from the White Sox. And maybe this is where we're getting split on it, is you're saying Bob Nightingale specifically, which we all know.
I'm saying Bob, yeah.
Yeah. But I can also see heading into the offseason, so a lot of the same teams that came up last year, whether it's Padres, Phillies, Dodgers, could they be interested in trying to acquire Luis Robert Jr. to play a corner outfielder? Could that be?
Bob's really the only one that, gossips. I don't think that we're going to see a even...
You don't think Passan would put 12 words in one of his offseason notes of could Luis Robert Jr.
That's different because that's just him. That's what everyone does. That's the obvious thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Jeff is going to be the Phillies have expressed interest in trading for a center fielder. Luis Robert Jr. seems to be a prime candidate, right? I don't think we're going to get that veiled talk that's oh, the Phillies are talking with the White Sox about Luis Robert Jr. I think it's more you could probably throw paint on a wall and see what sticks, right? And I think that's what we'll see. But I don't think we will see the White Sox had a deal with the Phillies and it fell through. I don't think we'll see that type of narrative.
Any other big thoughts, or should we go back to any other big thoughts, or should we go back to camera 1?
Let's go back to camera 1. Yeah, let's go back to the normal thing. Oh God, we showed the bald spot. That's the worst part.
Both cameras are on the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we could actually just wrap this up. We're at 49 minutes as well. I think that was all I had to share with you guys. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
We've done 49 minutes. We usually go 45, so a proper way to end it.
Hanging out in the big house.
Our next show will be on Sunday. We have not gotten permission to say what we're doing on Sunday, but
we're still allowed to tease.
Be a very different show. To say I'm excited for the opportunity on Sunday would be an understatement. This is, I would say, new to CHGO, at least to the Sox show specifically.
Can I also offer you don't want to miss it? You don't want to miss.
I like how you said that as like
you don't want to miss the episode.
Like you'd be like you were like wording like you don't want to miss it, and it's like what
you don't want to
miss signify?
You don't want to miss it. Maybe I'll emphasize a different part of the sentence.
Should be fun. We'll see you on Sunday. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe to Patrick Norton's newsletter because he sent us a big, long message in Slack crying about it.
And we love him. He's good at it. Half of the show loves him.
Fine at it. Also, I completely missed the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. So we should probably...
We're going to double time it on Sunday.
We should double time it on Sunday, but also I'll just... For people who are listening, because I should shout this out. We are currently fundraising for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, and I do apologize for not plugging it. It's your boy's got a frantic brain. Just 50 seconds for your time here. Our friends over at Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America are a community. Here at CHGO, we are also a community. We show up for our teams, and most importantly, we show up for each other. That's why this September, we are so proud to partner with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, an organization dedicated to making sure every kid has someone to show up for them. A one-on-one mentorship can change an entire children's future, giving them the support and guidance they need to thrive. But these connections don't just happen on their own. They need our help. Join the CHGO family and let's show up for the kids in our city. If you're watching on YouTube, use the donation button on this page in the chat. And for everyone listening along, you can join in by visiting bbbs.org/allcity. Any amount makes a huge difference. Again, that's bbbs.org/allcity. Let's do this together. Appreciate Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. We also really can't show off the table. I guess that was the bit too. We had two cameras, none showing off the table. Maybe I would have been more clued in if we had the giant jersey more apparent. We don't have to show it at this point. But there's a jersey on the table. There you go. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. Shout out to them. We'll see you on Sunday. Goodbye. Thank you, Joey Christopoulos.
We all silly like the mayor.